So once you get back to your file and you've already have your InfoWorks file, and so here's my InfoWorks file, everything's all set, and I want to bring in my parcels and all that I had before just to kind of help out with these things. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new proposal. I'll call it O1 and let's just call it parcels. Oh, let me put an underscore there. And so I'm going to create the proposal, but I need to drop something in this. And so I'm going to come over to Civil 3D and open up my file. And so here's my file. I've got all my parcels in here. And I want to use those in my design. And so I'm going to come over here and go to Export Objects to SDF. It's on the Output tab. So I'll go Output, Export Objects to SDF. It's going to come up here, and then I'll find a nice place to put this. And so there we go. I'll hit save and I'll hit OK. And we'll wait a second. It's going to go ahead and think about all the things. Now, the more sites you have, the more it's going to try to pull those up. So there's going to be a time frame involved. But once it's done, if you go to that folder, so let me just set this over here and I'll set this over here. There we go. So once I get that file, and I can find it right here, and so if I come in, and in my case, it's right here, and it's an SDF file, and so here it is in this file. Or I can come in this case, and I can also come to the data sources. And so in InfoWorks 2020, it's right here. It's under the I. You click right here and you have data sources. In 2021, it's actually on the main toolbar, and data sources looks exactly like this under the Manage tab. And if you open it up, it's going to bring up this little data sources folder. Now, if you already have it, though, you don't necessarily have to come in and add it. If I want to add it, I would come here, add file source, and I'd go pick SDF. In this case, though, I can come up here, select it, go find that file that I want, and then just drag it in. Now, when I do, it's going to come up and it's going to ask me what information I want to put. So I'm going to come here, and we're going to use our parcels as a coverage area. And then I'm going to come in here under Rule Style. I'm going to click the little pencil, pick a style, and so I'll call this one Residential, and hit Close and Refresh. And so that lays out all my properties for my design. And this really helps me see kind of what's going on in this case. Now, if you notice, this road in this example is cutting through a bunch of these properties. And so it's just basically a dirt road right here. So I can come in and go ahead and just hit delete, select and delete it out. And so now I have my general setup of my roads. Now, if you come over here and look, we can get a better idea of what's going on as far as how different roads are set up, how you want to have your roadways and all set up. And then you can kind of build off of that for your individual road design, which I'm going to show in just a second. All right, so what I want to do is I want to create a series of roads. The problem is that I don't have anything but standard roads to create. So what I want to do is create a couple that I can then come in and use to put my streets and all in my design. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over and I can close this out. And let me just zoom in. And I'm just going to zoom in somewhere where nothing's really happening. So somewhere like this. And I'm going to come over, and if you go to on version 2020, it's this one, Design, Review, and Engineer Roads. And then I'm going to come over, Design Roadways, Component Roads. I'm going to go create me a new component road. Now, if I'm in version 2021, you'll click on the Create tab, and one of the first buttons is the component road. It's on the far left. And so these are just like the roads that we do in Civil 3D. So it kind of has an assembly. You actually can have a profile if you want. Right now I'm just going to kind of click this as is. And so I'm going to create a road, and I'm just going to create it over here. And then I'm going to customize it. So when I first come in, let's just start off with the residential road. So I'm going to come over here, and under type, I'm going to click, and I'm going to type in 2 lanes. And it's already selected, but just to show you. And I'm going to say, oh, okay, here we go, 2 lanes. Yeah, that's what I want. And then I'm going to go ahead and just click 2 points. I'm going to click here. Sometimes you have to click a second time for it to come in. And then I'm going to drag it up here, and I'm only going to make it like 80 feet or something. Don't make it over 100, and there's a reason why. It creates merge lanes, and I don't need merge lanes. So I'm going to click right here, and when you're editing a component. And so once I do that, I'm just going to right click and select End Draw. And it gives me a road. Well, it's not overly exciting, but that's okay. This is my component road. If I select it, you'll notice if I hover over the different parts of the component, so the left and right lane, when I select one of those, it'll give me statistics and all that for it. So right now, I'm going to set those at 12 feet. So I'm going to go ahead and hit 12, and it's going to come in there. And I'm going to set my grade to -3%, because that's what it is in our area. So I'm going to type in -3. And then I'm going to come over and do the exact same thing on the other side. So you can make components, and they can be the same thing like a lane, but each component you can set to different numbers. So I'm going to set that to -3% too. So now I have those. And so now I want to go ahead, and I'm good, right? Well, no, that's not necessarily how my residential road is supposed to look. So I'd like to add components. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over, and I can select out here, and then come in and reselect, and I'm going to right click, and there's an option that says Insert Road Component. Well, in this case, if I come in here, I can now insert different road components. So all I want is a single lane, which happens to be right up here. So I'm going to say, okay, I want to add in another lane. So I'm going to go over, select that, and then I can see where I want to put it. I can put it on the center line, so it's an inside lane. I can click out here, put it on an outside lane or whatever, but it's showing each of those things. I'm going to go ahead and put it over here, select it, and then this one's going to come in. I'm going to set this width to the same width. So I'm going to set that as 12 feet and the slope to -3%. So what I'm going to do while I'm doing this is basically finish one side, and then I'll go ahead and do the exact same steps for the other side of the road, and kind of finish everything up. But now I have 2 lanes. Let's add a sidewalk. So I'm going to come over, I'm going to right click again, insert road component, and I would like to have a sidewalk. So sidewalk. And actually, before I do that, I need a curb. So let's add a curb. So I'm going to come in and add a curb. And we have all these different types. I'm going to pick this one, this curb and gutter. I'm going to pick it, and I'm going to place it right here. And then I can change some of the information. So let's set this to point to like 1 foot. And then I'm going to set the top width to 0.5. So that makes a real narrow little curb and gutter. I'm not going to change any of the other information. The depth, 1.48, that's fine. And so now I have that curb. So let's just kind of click over here where I can zoom in and kind of look at this. So this is how I have my stuff set up. And then I'm going to come over and add in a sidewalk. So same sort of thing. Right click, insert road component outside of my curb. Over here I'm going to add a sidewalk, so I'm going to type in side. Here it is, sidewalk. I'm going to put it over here, place it, and I'm going to set the width. Let's set the width to 8 foot. We're going to have nice big sidewalks. And I'm going to set the slope to, let's go 2%. Now, for the most part, I'm done on this, except you'll notice something. This is what this sidewalk looks like, which is actually pretty cool, but I'm probably not going to make a sidewalk that has that pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and reselect that component. So I'll just click once on the road and then come over to the component, click on it. And right up here, I'm going to change the style. And there's one over here called light gray concrete, and I'm going to replace it with that one. And so now it looks more like a sidewalk. So there I go, I got that sidewalk. So now I'm basically done. You'll notice that I didn't do daylight, and the reason why is daylight's actually already put in this right here. So it has cut material, fill material, grading method, and so like if I want to do if I want to show where these cuts and fills are, let me go ahead. I'm going to add actually for cut material, let's add something like let's go find another thing, something looking all probably like that, kind of a brown field. And then for fill material, I'll pick green and come over here. And you can see basically the cut area and fill area based on my road. I can also change this for fixed slope, fixed width, and things like that. So that's why you don't add a daylight like you do in Civil 3D. So now that I have this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause. I'm going to put it over on this side, and then what I'm going to do is show you how we can save this design for later. So all I'm going to do is the exact same steps. I'm going to come in, insert components, and all that. But y'all don't need to see me do that over again, so I'll go ahead and pause it and then pick it up from there. Okay, so if you look, I've added in the sidewalk on this side. I've done everything else. Now, here's one of the weird things about InfraWorks. The center lane, it always sets up that stripe as being white. They've never fixed it. It's kind of irritating, but that's the way it is. It's not that bad. There's actually a fix to that, but I think it's on one of the videos that I showed you where you can actually lay over a stripe, but this is fine. That's not a big deal. So now I have that set. So what I want to do is I want to save this, so because I want to use it again. So I'm going to come over and I am going to, with it selected, I'm just going to right click, and there is a road assembly in the right click menu, and I'm going to come down to this one that says add to library. I'm going to select it, and it gives me this weird yellow thing. What this is saying, okay, I'm going to, at this point, this cross section, I'm going to save that cross section. So I'm going to save it. It doesn't really matter where, somewhere there. It says, okay, what do you want to name it? And so I'll call this Major Collector. Let's go sidewalk dash both. And so now I can have it set up as a major collector sidewalk both sides. And so I can hit OK. So now this is set up as a major collector with sidewalks on both sides. If I come in to add in the road again, I can come over here, component road, come to type, and now if I type in MAJOR, here it is, major collector, and I can click and click and right click and draw, and here we go. We've got a cross section that we can use. So that's pretty good. The other nice thing is now that I have this, I can actually make other roads. So I'm going to come over here, select it, and let's say I only want a sidewalk on the right side. And the reason why this is right side is because 0 is at the bottom going north, and so this becomes my right side, this becomes my left side. So with this selected, which for some reason is that, let's change it back to 8. I don't know why it didn't change. There we go. All right, with this set up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this, and I'm going to just select one of the sidewalks, and I'm going to right click and pick split component. And so I'm going to come right about here, and split that component. I'm going to do the same thing over here. So I select, I right click, split component. Now what's cool is it'll snap to whatever your other one was and all that. So in this view, on this lower portion, I'm going to select this component and hit delete. Over here, I'm going to select this component and hit delete. So now I have sidewalk on the right side here, left side here. And so I can right click, road assembly, add to library. Call this one major collector sidewalk right. Okay. And up in this area, same sort of thing, right click, road assembly, add to library. Major collector sidewalk left, or L. Okay. So now I have that set. Go ahead, I'm going to delete this out. I'm going to come in and put in my road again, sidewalk both, pick here, right click and draw. And now I want to deal with, first off, let me see how long this is. Yeah, it should be all right. So I'm going to come in here and I am going to come in, select this outside lane, hit delete. Select this outside lane, hit delete. Now I've got my residential road. So go ahead, select it. I need to reset that one. That upsets me that I didn't. All right, and then I'm going to right click, road assembly, add to library. Let's go residential, oops, type it again, residential road to lane sidewalk both. And I'm just going to select that and copy that in. So hit OK, and then I'm going to make one on the left, one on the right. So select this, right click, split component, pick a spot, do the same thing over here, split component, pick a spot, delete it out over here, delete it out up here. Now I can right click, road assembly, add to library, paste this back in, sidewalk right, okay, add to library, paste this in, sidewalk left. Okay. There we go. And I can delete this out. So let me show you actually why I wanted to be under 100 feet when I did my basic design. So I'm going to make this one longer. So let's make it 121 feet. And so this comes in, and let's say I want to, I'm going to delete this out. And let's say I want to add a component. So I right click, I go insert road component. I'm going to go pick lane, L-A-N-E. Let's go find single lane. There we go. And I go to put it in. I get this. And what these are called are transition things, which basically kind of give you like a little merge lane type thing. If you go over 100 feet, it's going to add one of these in. And so if you don't want those in, you need to right click, and here it is, transition in and transition out, and you can get rid of the different portions like so. And so really good when you want to add like you're going from a 2-lane road to a 4-lane road, you can go ahead and add one in and have a transition. But in this case, when you're trying to make these quick designs, that's a lot of steps that you have to do for every single one of the components that you add. So that's why I always shorten the road whenever I bring that in to under 100 feet, and then I don't have to worry about it. All right, so now that we have that, let's go ahead and we're going to put in the roads.